Hello. Sorry to be live 1 minute late here. I briefly couldn't figure out how to go live because that's how often I use this app. So we are, hello, roaming SLP and Alan K. Jones and Sarah, there you are. So we'll wait for Sarah to send a request, which here it is, and to talk about Sonnet 151 today. We're waiting for Sarah. Ta-da! I hope. Yay! Sorry about the little delay there. I don't know what happened. I just forgot how to go live on Instagram.
No worries. All the technical difficulties I have every week. It's a
I
little
know.
blip on the radar.
Someday we'll learn how to use these things.
I don't think that will ever happen. I think we'll get all the way to sonnet number 1
We'll still be.
and then, yeah, exactly.
How are you today?
I'm doing okay. How are you doing?
Good. I went to Prospect Park today and there were scads of people everywhere, which
Wow.
felt shocking after taking some of those walks that I've taken through Manhattan where everything's been quite desolate and empty.
Yeah.
People are out and enjoying the weather, somewhat distanced from one another.
Were the parks and open spaces open, or like what have
Oh, yes. Big
there
parks
okay.
are open, like Central Park and Prospect Park. Smaller neighborhood parks with playgrounds. Playgrounds have usually been shut down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, good
So
luck.
thanks
How do
for
you feel
letting me
about it?
drive the MSP bus today.
Oh, of course, of course. I'm hoping you have better luck with the share to stories, download, whatever,
I don't know. It looks
whatever.
now. It says share to IGTV. Who knows what will happen?
I don't even know where that exists.
Yeah, me neither. But hopefully we'll find out.
It's all good.
Do you have a dedication today?
I do.
Okay.
So today's Sonnet 151 is for those of you who are joining us for the first time. We have been dedicating these to loved ones who have passed away from COVID-19 to humanize and to put a name to those numbers that we see flashing across our screens all day, every day. And today, our sonnet is dedicated to a frontline medical hero from my hometown in Maplewood. Paul Moise was a nurse who worked in a nursing home and at a hospital in New Jersey. He passed away on April 12th, and he leaves behind his wife and 3 children.
Oh, good Lord. That's terrible. I'm so sorry.
I think our frontline heroes are amazingly courageous, and I don't know if I would have been as courageous in any of their positions, and there are absolutely no words to express how much thanks that I send out to all of them.
Yeah.
So yes, so 151 dedicated to Paul. What do you got for us, Amanda?
All right. Here we go. Wait, let me just do one further adjust here to try to make things like a little bit more. There we go. 151. Love is too young to know what conscience is, yet who knows not conscience is born of love. Then, gentle cheater, urge not my amiss, least guilty of my faults thy sweet self prove. For thou betraying me, I do betray my nobler part to my gross body's treason. My soul doth tell my body that he may triumph in love. Flesh stays no further reason, but rising at thy name doth point out thee as his triumphant prize. Proud of this pride, he is contented thy poor drudge to be. To stand in thy affairs, fall by thy side. No want of conscience holdeth that I call her love, for whose dear love I rise and fall. I mean, basically, Shakespeare is making a bunch of dick jokes in this one.
Yes, but
yes,
but being being very earnest in the love.
Very earnest. Yes. So well, there's an odd continuation. We're working backwards for those of you who might not know, from 154 to 151. 154 and 153 are about Cupid. And so I think it's fair to interpret love here as Cupid as well. No fear, Shakespeare does. I made a check with them. Um, so we have this young love not knowing what conscience is and just going for it. And then a dichotomy between the soul and the body and listening to one or the other, and what happens when you fall prey to lust a little bit.
I also find it interesting that the fourth line, lest guilty of my faults, thy sweet self prove. So also saying, you know, don't be so mean to me because of my mistakes, because you might actually be guilty of the same faults.
Yes, in the future, you might also cheat. It's clearly a wiser, older person talking to someone younger in that regard. And yeah, that's.
Or maybe not specifically cheat, even though, yes, cheating is part of this, but I think more specifically what is the grander part of this might be the falling prey to the wiles of the flesh versus the intellectual love of, you know, say a relationship or a marriage or whatnot.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
it reminds me of 129 a bit, which one of my friends at school worked on, so I heard it a million times. You know, the lust in action, until action, lust. That
sounds familiar.
It has some of that feeling to it, that, you know, there's a difference between thinking something out, or your spiritual thought of something, and your physical manifestation of it.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I can see that. And I think unlike 152, I feel like this one does have a bit of a moral button, or a bit of a, and so I say this.
Yes. Yep. And love.
You want?
In my version here, which is the Riverside Shakespeare, love on the last line is even in quotations.
Mine too, yeah.
Yeah. So it does have that feeling of, oh, that's this person's love, or rather maybe it's just lust, and maybe it's our bodies wanting this thing to happen. That this person is literally rising and falling for. But I get this feeling reading this too, like I can see it in a courtroom, a courtly sort of situation, with people dressed up and flirting with one another, and they're by their lover's side, and then literally they're lying down next to them, and then they're up standing next to them in court, pretending that nothing is happening, and then they're fucking in bed, and then, you know, it has a lot of that feeling to it. Sort of the.
I agree that the rise and fall has a just the physicalization of that could be so many things.
Yes.
And I love that that Shakespeare uses that image in a way that you can see all of those different ways. It's not just one thing. It's not just an erection. It's not just, right?
Absolutely. It's definitely multivalenced. One thing I noticed in the notes for the Riverside too is that conscience has a couple different meanings from that time period. It means, one, the common understanding that we have today, a moral sense and understanding, but it also has the sense of guilty, of knowing, and knowing in the biblical sense being literally like to know someone, to have knowledge of them, to have had sex with them. Like that's how they use that word in the Bible, and I think it looks like that's how it's been thought of in this sonnet as well.
Oh, interesting. I can totally see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, anything else you want to say
I
about this
don't know.
particular
Anybody, any questions from, let me just peer at the little screen on my TV. Anybody in the people watching who have a question or a thought or something to say, or tell us all. It looks like we have some interesting people here. The Architecture Underground. That's awesome. Bodega Plato. D City. I'm waving at them, whatever that means.
I'm waving at them too.
I'm not seeing anything coming up right now. So
I'm wondering if in like maybe like one or two more sonnets, like so we've got 150, 149. I'm wondering if looking back after we do like maybe one or two, and if we notice a theme for like these last five, like because the first 10 have like a huge theme of, you know, procreation. I'm
right,
just wondering if maybe, yeah, I'm wondering if our last chunk here, I mean, we might have to do a whole 10 to see a theme or something, but yeah, I'm just wondering.
I
And
mean,
then and maybe
yeah, I
there
think
there might be,
they will.
yeah, but and then there might be that interesting bookend to the first 10 being procreate and have babies, and the last 10 being, hey, I now am wiser and I now understand some things. So who knows? Those bookends might.
Right, they might have already had their children and done their thing. Now they're in a mature marriage and they're like, hey!
Well, Amanda, this was totally awesome as always. I thoroughly
Yes.
enjoy doing this with you. I look forward to it all week.
Yay! It's nice to have something on the schedule, as the rest of my life has very little on the schedule right now. Even though it's actually quite enjoyable at this point, having a lot of time. It's a little boring sometimes, but mostly great. I hope you're doing well there and going on more
Yep.
swims and more walks. And
Yep. Jumped in the cold lake this morning. It was awesome and absolutely terrible.
so next week we'll have you reading 150.
150. And good luck with the technology. Let's see if it sticks this time.
Right. Let's see. All right. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, people who were there as well.